That's Tony Hancock in. Hancock's half-hour.
Mayor of East Cheam, Mrs. Tremble, is gracing us with a present in a minute, Sid, complete with gold chain. Smarten yourself up a bit, will you?
You smarten yourself up a bit, Hancock.
Don't be like that, Sid. I am smart. I just brought this pullover at Marks and Spencer's. It's pure wild sheep wool harvested from the barbed wire of a small island in the Outer Hebrides called Greg Knockley.
Why do they call it a pullover, Hancock?
I don't know. Why do they call it a pullover, Sid?
Because when you're a copper and you see someone driving too fast and wearing one, you shout at them, "Pull over!"
Thanks, Sid. It's nice to hear that old chestnut again. Can you smarten yourself up, Sid?
All right, let me wear your pullover.
No, you cannot. That's why I'm wearing it. We both can't wear it, can we? We'd look stupid in a pullover with two heads sticking out of it, wouldn't we? This is the Mayor of East Cheam we're talking about, not one of your drunken girlfriends from the East Cheam Arms. She's here. Quick, Sid, spit on your hand and flatten down your hair a bit, will you? I'll do it if you like.
Hello, Inspector Hancock and Sergeant James. Good to see you again. I always feel safe when I know you two are around in the village. A girl can walk out on her own in safety.
You have met Sid, haven't you, Mrs. Tremble?
Oh, yes, indeed I have. Hello again, Sergeant James. My, you've got a firm but slightly moist handshake. It must be sweat. It's quite warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's hot. That's the reason. It's not sweat or nothing. Sorry, Mayoress Tremble. I'll cover my hands in deodorant in future.
Yes, very good idea, Sergeant James. Well, I've come here to tell you that we are having some problems with this dreadful man called Cedric Fagin.
Yuck. What? Like Oliver Twist, you mean?
No, he's definitely called Arthur Fagin, and not Oliver Twist.
Of course he is. How silly of me. What's this fellow been doing, Mrs. Tremble?
Inspector Hancock, he's been messing around with the books in our little libraries, cited in old phone boxes, would you believe, and scattered round the village. We like to encourage people in East Cheam to read, particularly the dear children.
So we got small libraries in Cheam now, have we? Like microbreweries, I suppose.
No, nothing like microbreweries, or micro-pigs even, Inspector Hancock. Yes, they're in phone booths, but they don't serve alcohol. Come now, Inspector, a man of the blue surge.
I stand corrected, Mayoress Tremble. To achieve an end to this sordid matter, I've arranged for a Mr. Fagin to be along in a minute.
Dear Mr. Hancock, will I be safe? Will you protect me from him?
Never fear, Hancock's here. However, it depends how big he is. No, don't worry, Mrs. Tremble. We've got our own Sergeant Fagin here. Yes, Sid has dealt with quite a few dangerous customers, haven't you, Sid?
I have indeed. However, I'm sure Mrs. Tremble can look after herself, Inspector Hancock. Woman's lib and all that.
Yes, all right.
Good morning, I'm Arthur Fagin.
Yes, we know.
I've come to collect my certificate to express your gratitude to me for presenting hundreds of books to the East Cheam Phone Box Library Scheme of... Well, Mr. Fagin, you're not getting any certificate for putting all those mucky books in our phone box library. They're not mucky, Your Worship. I'm very careful. I always clean them first with hand sanitizer so I don't spread any germs. They're nice, very clean books. Pleased to hear it, Mr. Fagin, but I'm not talking about dirt, or crud, or soil, or grot per se. Not general grubbiness, if you get my drift. To be perfectly honest, I don't get it. Dirty, mucky, what's the difference? I clean them well before anyone gets hold of them. You could eat off them. Oh, I do hope you haven't been eating off them. We don't want your saliva or anything like that anywhere near our telephone booth libraries. Stop messing about. You know what I mean. Yes, but you don't seem to know what I mean, Mr. Fagin. I'm talking about the filth that's in your book, not on them. Don't be silly. I cannot clean inside the books. It would make all the pages stick together. I can only clean the covers. Don't laugh. I once read a copy of War and Peace in 3 minutes. All the pages were stuck together, except the first and the last one. I'll start to shake you in a minute. I'm not talking about filth, or dirt, or crud, or soil, or grut, Mr. Fagin. It's the filth that lies within, in the depth of the human mind. Hang on a minute, you'll do yourself a mischief. I still don't know what you're talking about. I keep answering you, and you keep telling me you're talking about something entirely different. Do I have to spell it out? If you must know, I'm talking about sex, Mr. Fagin. No, Tar, I've just eaten. Try not to have sex before 7:30. Well, really, are you out of your tiny little mind? What makes you think I'd be interested in you, the purveyor of salacious pornography? I've seen the way you look at me ever since you caught me putting a copy of Done Lasting in Londonno into one of the phone boxes.
I'm sorry, Mayor Tremble, I'm going to have to stop you there. Mr. Fagin is innocent until proven guilty. We have to follow the rules and obey the law. However, if he doesn't cough up quickly enough to the whole lot, Sid will belt him one.
Innocent, Inspector Hancock? He's far away from being innocent. Have you seen some of the books he's been putting in the telephone box libraries?
Like what, Mayoress? Give us a for instance.
I don't know if I can speak the word, Sergeant James. Like 50 nuns get the Abbey habit.
I don't know. That sounds like a good one. I wouldn't mind casting me orbs over that.
Well, you're too late, Sergeant James. The East Team Council has already cast its orbs over it before casting it into the pits of hell or the central heating boiler of the town hall with the rest of his smut. That's not smut. How dare you? It's a classic. As good as Jane Austen. I've got another copy, Sergeant James. I'll loan it to you. I'll pop it into a brown paper bag and leave it on your doorstep. No one will know.
Oh, very much, Mr. Fagin. That would do nicely for the weekend.
I'm going to put my foot down there, Sid. Sergeant James doesn't want it, Mr. Fagin, as that would only be encouraging him. I mean you.
But I do want it. It's stimulated an interest in reading in me that has remained latent for a number of years. Tell me what happened, Cedric.
I couldn't tell you. There are ladies present, and it would spoil the ending anyway. I like being in suspenders. In suspense. What did I tell you, Inspector Hancock? His books are not suitable for the ladies of the village. He's admitted it. Charge him. Are there any ladies in the village? Are you sure? I hadn't noticed any. There's lots of enormous...
Let me stop you there, Mr. Fagin, before you say something you might regret. Now, to continue. Mr. Fagin, you've been filling the council's well-intentioned phone book libraries with the sort of books your mother wouldn't let you read.
What do you mean? My mother made me read them. They're hers in the first place. She's a dreadful woman. I'm trying to get rid of them. Well, get rid of them somewhere else, mate. You can stick them up your flaming jacksie for all I care.
Come, Mayoress, don't sink to his level. Try and maintain a bit of social distancing before he drags us all down with him. We are above this sort of thing. We are the cream, whereas he is the...
Froth.
Yes, froth. I couldn't put it better myself.
You're both stuffed shirts. What's wrong with popular titles such as She Escaped the Clutches of the Royal Family with Her Honour Intact? How dare you suggest such things about the Royal Family? Wash your mouth out. That would be a small sherry, Tar.
There'll be no sherry for you, mate, until you stop spreading porn through the village. It's not just a village full of men like Cindy here. There's nice people as well.
No need to worry, I've got something for them as well. What about...
How ridiculous. I don't think Harry Potter ever did anything like that with his wand. You see, the idea of libraries is they elevate your mind, educate and enrich with the finest works of the human psyche, so we can all move onto a higher plane.
Stop messing about. You're a bit of a windbag when you get going, ain't you? But you're right. I read this one on the plane the other day. Ollie, the trolley dolly. That's enough, Mr. Fagin. I feel sullied. Every word you say goes through me like a knife. Haven't you read a decent book in your life? Do you know what one is? What about Wind in the Willows? Yes, I've read that one. Wind in the Willows, a tale of naked lust on the riverbank. That is not the book I'm talking about. It's about a rat, a mole, and a toad. So was the one I read.
I think we got the general idea, Cedric. You've got a whole lot of slightly dodgy books. Why don't you donate them to charity?
But I did. The Cheam Postbox Library charity. It's not my fault they didn't tell me what sort of books they were looking for. I thought we were all men in the world here. We are not all men. Look at me, Mr. Fagin. Do I look like a man? Well, you do a bit. Inspector Hancock, would you please give Mr. Fagin an ASBO forbidding him from coming within 5 feet of a phone box library and within a mile of me? What happens if I want to borrow a book? No. What if I want a wee?
You heard the lady, Mr. Fagin. You mustn't even touch one of her books or even look at a phone box library.
What about if I wear gloves?
Out of the question. Now, here's your ASBO. Enjoy reading it.
What's that you're reading, Sergeant James?
Nothing. Oh, right, it's one of Mr. Fagin's books. Coincidentally, it's about a lady mayoress who seduces every man in her village.
Oh, is it, Sergeant James? That sounds very interesting. Can I borrow it when you finish with it, perhaps? I can come round tomorrow night, if you like, and, pick it up.
Yeah, good idea, Mrs. Tremble. Can I call you Alice?
Yes, please do, Sergeant James. And you were very brave and dealt with that monster, Mr. Fagin, well. I do so despise people who try and live their life vicariously, Sergeant James. I prefer the real thing, don't you?
Oh no, man. What you doing?
Television presents Tony Hancock in
Fouling to steal a diamond ring valued at 20...